this kaleidoscopic carnival spilled through Gatsby's door.
My invitation.
These celebrities got properly put in their place, from Elon Musk to Kanye West and Prince Andrew.
Oh my God.
These celebrities stepped out of line and got humbled for it real quick. Even Lil Mama got her fair share of controversy. Today, we are going to show you some shocking and awkward moments of the most popular celebrities that you know. From the ones you see on TV to the ones stealing the limelight in award shows, nobody got excused. So, stay tuned as we go through some of the most brutal encounters that shocked the whole world. Number 1, the embarrassing pitch by Elon Musk. Tesla is always coming up with new and shiny things that keep the audience on the tip of their toes. This bulletproof truck came with the same intention and had the crowd on the edges of their seats. But something happened that changed the entire course of the evening. It was the unveiling of the most bizarre-looking bulletproof truck at a public event in Los Angeles. The Robocop was known to run 500 miles on a single charge, and the world loved it. But the biggest promoted feature of the truck was its impenetrable exterior, and Elon Musk had been bragging about it for a while now. He showed a detailed video of how the truck was able to withstand a 9mm handgun, usually used by military personnel. Let's just say things did not go as planned after that. The time for real testing came, and the crowd was ready to be fascinated. But when the guy picked the metal balls to strike at the truck, the unexpected happened. He managed to smack the windows of the truck. The glass shattered, and Musk's face turned red out of embarrassment. He tried to play it off by claiming that the guy might have hit too hard. So he hit the truck a second time and aimed for the other window this time. The glass creaked and shattered within seconds of the impact, leaving the crowd laughing and Musk trying to hide his face. Number 2. Preston gets mocked at a talk show. Somebody needs to tell this band member that you shouldn't attend a roast if you cannot take it. Mind the Buzzcock was a British comedy show that was known for its dry humor and roasts. Any guest that came onto the show knew they were going to be an easy target for the roasters. But apparently, that news had not yet reached Preston, a band member of the Ordinary Guys. The host of the show, Simon Cowell, had no clue that he was going to hit a nerve when he pulled out Preston's wife's autobiography. The host started reading out texts from the book, and boy, Preston was not happy. Note that the book had been published and out for the whole public to read, but maybe Preston did not know about it, because in the next few moments, he sure made a fool of himself. After a couple of jokes, you could tell from Preston's face that he was not a fan of the roasts. Instantly, he got up and ran out of the set. The host could be heard trying to call him back. Everyone was shocked to their cores, but the crew made a fun skit out of the whole fiasco and called an audience member to join them who looked a lot like Preston. Maybe that's what celebrities should do in the first place. Hire doubles to make appearances so they don't end up embarrassing themselves. Number 3. Whoopi Goldberg. Let's air out. This one is going to make you laugh out loud. At The View, the conversations are short and interruptions are common. That seemed to be the premise for this incident too. The 4 women had called Claire Danes as the guest on a routine show. They were discussing her upcoming show, Homeland, and how it would help change the narrative on one of the biggest traumas that hit the country, 9/11. But a very serious discussion was soon going to be interrupted by a noisy guest that caused the whole room to erupt in laughter. The conversation was going strong, but you can spot Goldberg trying to shift positions. That's when it happens. She breaks wind, and everyone is startled for a second. Then, loud bursts of laughter echo in the room, making Goldberg think twice about what accidentally happened to her on live TV. And although Goldberg tried to play it off with a quick joke, we doubt that the internet is going to let her forget this. The other interviewers, on the other hand, especially Joy, seem to be having the time of their lives. She doesn't even hide her grin. Now that's embarrassing. Number 4. Lil Mama crashes the concert. It was the night of MTV when 2 favorites, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, got up on stage to perform their song, The Empire State of Mind. It probably was going to be a hit performance, but it got famous for all the wrong reasons. Halfway into the song, something snapped in Lil Mama, and she made an attempt to go on stage. You can spot Beyoncé trying to stop her like a loyal friend. But apparently, Lil Mama had already made up her mind, and her intrusive thoughts had definitely taken over. She rushed to the stage and didn't even bother to greet the singers. She just started dancing and lip-syncing as she was already part of the song. You can feel the second-hand embarrassment for her. Jay-Z even gives her side looks, but that doesn't stop her from going on an obnoxious dance routine. If that wasn't enough, she even posed in front of the camera after the performance ended, like she actually had any contribution to the gig. Talk about stealing someone else's thunder. It is mind-boggling, to say the least. But the internet didn't leave her alone. They roasted her so much that the trolls are going on even today. Lil Mama, on the other hand, had nothing to say, except calling it a moment of adrenaline rush. Yes, maybe you should keep that boost of energy inside sometimes. Number 5. Prince Andrew gets owned on live TV. When the Jeffrey Epstein case blew out in the open, many prominent names were out as part of the scandal. One of those personalities was none other than the esteemed royalty, Prince Andrew. While many of the celebrities were not directly involved in the human trafficking ring or the inappropriate activities that ran on Epstein Island, the same cannot be said about Prince Andrew. Many girls came out against the prince, claiming that he was part of the illegal and unethical dealings on the island. After having done the crime, he had the guts to go on live TV and have the interviewer question him about it. Then, something happened that got the prince knee-deep into the allegations and the internet laughing about it. A girl had described a scene with Prince Andrew very specifically where she claimed he was sweating profusely. When asked about the claim, he made up such a dumb excuse that you could catch his nose growing like Pinocchio. He said that he does not sweat, and then he goes on to say that he did not sweat at the time. Yup, he just indirectly admitted to being there. Plus, when asked about where he was on that day, he repeated a memorized answer like a parrot. The public saw right through his lies. He did not seem to remember anything about the Epstein Island, but he remembered each and every detail about going to a random birthday party at Pizza Express. Like a prince, does not have anything better to do. Number 6. Kesha got denied a hug. This has got to be the most awkward yet the most polite encounter you would ever see on live TV. Normally, you see a lot of people making fun of how celebrities interact on the red carpet. It is like a subtle smile, a half hug, or an excited squeal, and they all look almost the same. Well, this encounter is entirely out of the syllabus. Seinfeld was getting interviewed on the red carpet when Kesha came running to meet him. But Seinfeld took a couple of steps back. Kesha politely asked if she could get a hug, and Seinfeld straight up said no. Kesha could not believe her ears, which is probably why she repeated her request 3 more times. But Seinfeld was probably all out on his social battery and adamant on keeping it that way. He practiced social distancing before it was cool. Number 7. Stuart Lee gets fined. It is one thing to criticize a show, but a whole other scenario when you get personal and start bashing them. A similar thing happened in Britain, but it got the celebrity a hefty fine in return. Stuart Lee is a popular comedian in the country. He often used to go on live tours and do gigs in different cities, but he went a bit too far in one of his live shows. A little earlier than the gig, Top Gear had aired, and apparently Lee was not a big fan of the episodes. He not only expressed his dislike about the show, but started attacking a couple of actors, Jeremy Clarkson and Richard Hammond. He went on to talk excessively and almost obsessively about the both of them and even wished death on Clarkson. He mocked them for almost the entire length of his live show. The audience had no clue whether to laugh or stare at him dumbfounded. But Lee did not stop during his piece to take a breather on the rant train and called the actors out for their offensive behaviors. The show got him the attention he wanted, but years later, he also got a reward for his piece. It came in the form of a hefty fine, but that only made Lee more vengeful against the show and its crew. That is some serious beef between both parties. Number 8. Ktie Hopkins get a shut-up call. Ktie Hopkins is a journalist and is always on the news, but never for the right reasons. She is often seen in the headlines bouncing from one scandal to another. And this time was not any different when she caught herself in the middle of the most bizarre arguments. The only difference was that this time, the host humbled her real fast. On a morning show, she started the argument about how she would judge children based on their names. It was a pretty stupid debate to begin with. She started defending the argument, saying that she would never allow her kids to befriend children with weird names. Considering the weirdest kids' names that have been gaining popularity these days, her kids would have been lonely in this age and time. If that wasn't enough of a ruffle on TV, she went on to say how she hated kids who had geographical names. But here is a plot twist that even you wouldn't have expected. Her daughter's name was India. When the host reminded her of that, she could not utter another word. Did she even go to geography class? Number 9, Kanye West interrupts Taylor Swift's speech. This is the most weird and popularly hated footage of all time. Kanye West often finds himself in the middle of many controversies. This time, he brought it upon himself and took it a step too far. During the 2009 VMAs, the nominations for Best Female Video were called out. Moments later, Taylor Swift was announced as the winner. Some people were not happy about it, but nobody expressed it out loud like Kanye. Swift was elated to have won and was halfway through her acceptance speech when something very strange happened. Kanye West teleported out of nowhere and snatched the mic from Swift. He went on a rant about how Beyoncé deserved that award more than Swift. She got pretty shaken up from the sudden outburst. The crowd booed so loudly that it should have been the cue for Kanye to leave. But he continued saying his hate speech, while Beyoncé looked like she wanted to run out of the arena. She probably felt second-hand embarrassment for Kanye, but he was in his own zone. He gave the mic back to Swift and vanished, just as how he had appeared out of nowhere in the first place. Beyoncé was the last person who wanted to be involved in the drama, and Swift had no clue what had just happened. Later, Kanye was removed from the show, and Beyoncé won another award. She allowed Swift to make her acceptance speech backstage, rescuing her from the fiasco that had unfolded. Number 10, Piers Morgan gets humiliated by his co-host. Piers Morgan is known as a controversial journalist. He is often seen telling his views and opinions on things he has never experienced. He was the butt of the joke so many times, but so far he has not learned how to express his views respectfully. There have been many cases where Piers opened his mouth only to get shut up live. In one such instance, Piers was on his routine morning show with his co-host, Susanna. Facebook had just become a political platform, and Piers was once again giving his 2 cents on the most popular social media platform of the time. Note that Facebook was one of the few popular social platforms back then, but Piers was not a big fan, and he wasted no time in expressing his dislike. He claimed how it was tiring to go on the app and see his friends and family rant on a random topic. All he wanted to do was unfriend them. Susanna was listening to him blowing the trumpet, but she soon had enough. She gave him a shut-up call by sarcastically saying how she wished that she could unfriend some people too, and how she is forced to sit there and listen to people yap about their views on and on. Susanna may have not pointed fingers, but Piers knew he was the one getting trolled. Susanna received a lot of praise for giving this wake-up call to Piers, but he obviously was not very happy about it. You can see how his facial expressions darkened and his eyes turned into a death stare. Number 11, Ashlee Simpson freaks out on stage. Imagine going to a performance and the singer chickens out in the middle of the show. What will you do? This is exactly what happened at the SNL back in 2004. Ashlee Simpson was called to the stage to sing her song. She started pretty confidently and was dancing all around the stage when the lip sync started turning off. There was an error with the technology, and the technicians could not get the system running back up. Simpson waited a few minutes, trying to cover it off with her weird dancing steps, but that did not end so well for her. The system could not get back up again, and Simpson decided to one thing that would always be connected with her career. Instead of singing slowly or waiting it out, she decided to walk out off the stage. A singer who could not sing without lip sync has to be in the list of the most embarrassing moments, and Simpson knew too. The whole scenario turned out to be so viral that the singer herself had to come out and respond to it. She called it a humbling moment of her life and simply stated that she could not speak because of her nodules, so it was best for her to walk out. You have to feel bad for the band, though. They were ready to give the crowd a performance of their lifetime and were in no mood to stop. At least the crowd got a buzzing performance from them. Number 12. Patrick Stewart schools James Corden. James Corden is often criticized for his rude behavior and snide remarks. Although he does have a glamorous upfront on his show, he is quite the opposite in real life, according to many statements by waiters and his fans. One such sneak peek into his reckless demeanor was caught on by Patrick Stewart. During the Glamour Women of the Year event in 2010, the two had a verbal brawl that shook the entire industry. The event was hosted by James Corden, and he was reportedly disinterested throughout the whole show. He was on his phone constantly and did not look like he wanted to be at the event. So when Patrick Stewart came to announce the Film Actress of the Year, he decided to school Corden on his behavior, but he did not take it lightly. He responded with many snide remarks and refused to be publicly called out like that. Stewart was ready with his replies too. He had a teachable moment ready for Corden, and he did not leave the stage without giving his legendary theatrical performances. The only difference was that this was not scripted. You can spot Corden at the back, looking displeased and wanting to start a fight. He looks like a drunk man provoking another man to fight in a bar. But Patrick Stewart does not just randomly bash anyone. If he was giving a shut-up call to someone, they probably deserved it. Number 13. Steve Harvey's painful incident. Steve Harvey is one of the most popular hosts on TV. His show, Family Feud, is among the longest-running shows on television. But what he did at the Miss Universe event was so painful to watch that the audience was getting second-hand embarrassment. During the 2015 pageants, Steve Harvey was given the responsibility of announcing the winner. But boy, did he mess up. He announced Miss Colombia, Ariadna Gutierrez, as the winner, although Miss Philippines, Pia Alonso Wurzbach, had taken the title. The problem was that he had not realized his mistake for 2 whole minutes. The courage he would have needed to speak up and apologize to the runner-up that she had not won is crazy, but he did the right thing and revealed the truth. Harvey received a week's worth of torture from there on. He was bashed in newspapers and on the internet for days. He had even received angry letters from the fans. Harvey responded by saying it was the worst week of his life, and it definitely humbled him. Number 14. Gary Neville gets roasted on live TV. In 2022, all eyes were on Qatar for hosting the Football World Cup. The public was split into half on Qatar's views and its rules during the World Cup matches. While some appraised the regulations, others talked against them. One of those people was Gary Neville, an ex-footballer of Manchester United, and was also in the team of commentators for the World Cup. He had sat down in a show to discuss the Qatari policies and did not hold back in expressing his dislike. While the other hosts remained quiet, Ian Hislop decided to bring him back to earth. Hislop politely warned him that the others might have been gentle on him, but he was not going to go down that road. And Hislop didn't. He roasted Neville with one remark and then another, and that was enough to shut him up. He reminded Neville that he was part of the commentators during the World Cup and that if he did not like the Qatari policies, he should stop taking money from them. The remark was so powerfully vile that the audience had no choice but to applaud the shut-up call. The audience cheered at Hislop's bravery to give a wake-up call to Neville, who had clearly gone off the rails. Number 15. Emma Stone's awkward hug. At the Golden Globe Awards, people could not help but feel cringe for the poor celebrity. Everything was normal. Emma Stone had won an award and had given a remarkable acceptance speech, but she had no clue that she was going to be remembered that night for something completely different. The nominees for the Best Original Screenplay were announced, and La La Land snatched the win. When the director, Damien Chazelle, got up to get the award, he was going to give a hug to his wife. But somehow, Emma Stone got the impression that it was a group hug. She was aiming to give the director a warm hug when she found herself third-wheeling in an embarrassing hug. She quickly realized her mistake and could not do anything but hide her face behind her hands. And then the director's expressions were enough to tell Stone off for making a fool of herself. But Ryan Gosling, her co-star in the movie, was seen laughing loudly. It was not something even she would have been prepared for. Number 16. Mel B stands up to Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell is responsible for creating many popular bands, but his management and people skills remain quite poor. The most shocking thing is that his own behavior in this incident is the proof of it. During America's Got Talent, Mel B had spoken up many times against Simon Cowell as a judge. They would often get into verbal brawls, but he apparently did not learn his lesson. One time, things got so serious that Mel B had no choice but to employ other methods to stand up for herself. After one of the performances, the judges were talking and evaluating the contestant like they usually do. Out of nowhere, Cowell made a jab at Mel B's career that did not go well with the crowd or with Mel B. She got so infuriated that she picked up her water bottle and dunked the water onto Cowell's face. The funny thing is that she did not stop there. She threw the water one more time until Cowell was soaking wet. The crowd applauded and cheered loudly, showing support to Mel B for not backing down. Do you think she did the right thing? Let us know. That's all on the celebrities who got humbled on TV. Some of these encounters make you mad at the obnoxious celebrities and their fake personas, but the others make you feel bad for them. Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments and tell us if we missed out on something. If you liked the video, press the thumbs up button. We would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified of our next uploads. We will be coming up with more exciting videos. Until then, stay tuned and thanks for watching.